Skip to content. Chat history. This is a copy of a conversation between ChatGPT and Anonymous. There is a kind of silence that does not mean absence, but presence. It fills everything, surrounding the stars, gliding between planets, stretching endlessly where light itself has not yet arrived. Space is not empty. It is an ocean without surface or floor, made of invisible currents that move faster than sound, slower than thought. In that ocean, everything that ever was still is. The mind can try to imagine it, but imagination always falls short. Numbers do not help. Distances lose meaning. A single beam of light can cross billions of years, yet remain part of the same breath that animates all things. The universe breathes in the language of motion. Every expansion, every collapse, every flicker of light in the dark is a syllable in that ancient exhalation. The air of Earth holds the memory of stars. Every atom that forms the human body was born in a furnace of unimaginable heat and pressure. When those stars died, their remains drifted through space until gravity gathered them again. From that scattered dust, planets formed, oceans filled, and eventually consciousness awoke. The breath of the cosmos continues through lungs that once belonged to flame and dust. At the heart of this infinite stillness, there are regions where nothing seems to move, yet even there, energy hums below perception. Invisible particles flicker in and out of being, a quiet turbulence beneath the calm. This ceaseless shimmer means that even in the darkest corners of existence, something is always alive. Motion cannot stop. The universe is restless, even in its deepest sleep. If one could stand in the middle of a starless void and listen, the sound would not be heard but felt. A vibration in the bones, a soft resonance that carries the weight of all creation. It would not speak in words, but in the language of balance, the pull of gravity, the dance of light, the patience of time. It would tell that everything moves together, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, as if guided by a single, invisible rhythm. Light travels endlessly, carrying messages that no one may ever read. When it strikes the eyes of an observer, it becomes history revealed. A photon that began its journey before the birth of humanity enters a moment of recognition. For an instant, time folds, and the observer becomes part of the story that began before memory. To see the night sky is to witness the past shining quietly in the present. The cosmic breath moves through everything, shaping it gently. Stars rise, burn and fade. Planets form, shift and vanish. Dust gathers and disperses. Each motion leaves behind a trace that never truly disappears. Energy only changes form, never ceasing. It is as if the universe exhales creation and inhales memory in a cycle that has no beginning and no final rest. There are no walls in this expanse, no boundaries that mark where existence ends. Instead, space curves back upon itself, folding and stretching under the weight of unseen forces. Galaxies glide through these invisible pathways, guided by the architecture of gravity. The motion is slow beyond comprehension, but steady, like the quiet tide of a sleeping sea. In this motion lies both serenity and eternity. Humanity stands small within this vastness, yet not separate from it. The same particles that spin in the hearts of stars also shimmer within each pulse of blood. The body is a fragment of the greater whole, a momentary pattern formed by the same physics that sculpts nebulae and black holes. To exist is to be part of that grand design, a fleeting thought in the endless mind of space. If one lets go of all noise and listens with stillness, the illusion of separation fades. What remains is motion, vibration, the slow rhythm of everything breathing together. Each inhale mirrors the gathering of galaxies. Each exhale reflects their slow drift apart. The cosmos does not sleep, yet it feels like a dream vast, unending, and quiet enough to lull the mind toward wonder. In this infinite breath, there is comfort, the knowledge that everything once was light and will be light again. Nothing truly ends, it only changes shape, moving between forms, between silence and sound, between being and remembering. To breathe is to join that cycle, to become part of the quiet harmony that holds the stars. The universe breathes, and through that breath, everything continues. In the earliest moment of existence, There was no color, no glow, no trace of light. Space was thick with heat and density, an invisible ocean of energy and raw potential. The universe was smaller than a single breath, yet within it, all that would ever exist already waited in silence. Then, in an instant beyond time, everything began to move outward. The first expansion shattered that stillness. The cosmos unfolded, not into space, but as space itself. For hundreds of thousands of years, this newborn universe was a blinding storm. Particles crashed into one another endlessly, their collisions forming and breaking matter faster than it could survive. In that chaos, light existed, but it could not escape. Photons were trapped, ricocheting off electrons like birds in a cage of pure heat. The cosmos was luminous but invisible, filled with brilliance that no eye could ever see. As expansion continued, the temperature fell. The violent collisions grew gentler. The fog of particles began to thin. Around 380,000 years after the beginning, something delicate and profound occurred. Electrons slowed enough to be captured by atomic nuclei. Hydrogen and helium formed their first quiet bonds. The universe exhaled. For the first time, light was free to travel, unimpeded by the density that had once imprisoned it. This was the birth of the first light, not a beam, not a flash, but an ocean of pure radiance spreading in every direction. It filled the cosmos evenly, leaving no corner untouched. Those photons began a journey they have never ended, moving through expanding space at the same speed they were born. Their faint energy still lingers everywhere, whispering through the dark as the background glow that wraps all existence. The first light carried with it a kind of memory. Embedded in its subtle fluctuations were the first seeds of structure, tiny ripples that would one day grow into galaxies, clusters, and stars. Each uneven shimmer of brightness was a future world waiting to form. Within that faint light, the blueprint of everything we know was already written in temperature and motion. To imagine that ancient moment is to picture a universe filled with a soft red glow. It was not the black of space we see today, but a dim warmth stretching endlessly in all directions. The first light was gentle, almost tender, bathing the young cosmos in a light that would slowly fade as it expanded. Over billions of years, it stretched and cooled, slipping from red to infrared to microwave, until only a whisper remained. That whisper still passes through the Earth every second, unnoticed, older than any star in the sky. Each photon that drifts across the night today carries a trace of that first illumination. They are messengers from an age when there were no galaxies, no planets, not even dust. To them, the universe is still the same journey. They began endless expansion, eternal motion, a flight without destination. The light does not fade. It simply spreads thinner, diluted across the vastness of growing space. This ancient radiance is not only a physical remnant, but a symbol of the universe awakening to itself. It was the moment when chaos softened into coherence, when darkness learned to glow. From that gentle beginning, the universe began to sculpt itself into forms of increasing complexity. The first atoms became clouds, clouds became stars, stars began to fuse elements, and from their remnants, new worlds emerged. Yet everything began with that first release of light, the universe's first act of expression. If one could travel back to that instant, there would be no sound, no boundary, no horizon, only a pervasive brightness, endless and serene. The light would not sting the eyes. It would surround and penetrate, blending with everything, indistinguishable from the space it filled. It was a light that did not need to be seen, only felt. It was the first evidence that something existed, rather than nothing. Even now, that light connects all that is. The faint glow that once filled the cosmos completely still lingers in every direction, like the afterimage of creation itself. It carries within it the fingerprints of the universe's beginning, the temperature of its infancy, the rhythm of its expansion, the first symmetry between matter and energy. It is the soft heartbeat of existence, still pulsing faintly beneath all things. To look at the stars is to witness echoes of that first illumination refracted through eons of transformation. The light that surrounds humanity is not new. It is ancient light, recycled through time, reshaped by dust and gravity, reborn in stars and reflected in eyes. Every glimmer in the night sky is part of that original glow, dispersed and transformed, yet never lost. The first light ever born was not simply an event. It was the moment the universe began to remember itself, the instant when energy and matter entered into harmony. It was the quiet beginning of visibility, the dawn that would one day allow awareness to emerge. That faint light still lives in the emptiness, and within every observer, as a distant reflection of the universe's first awakening. There is a faint whisper that fills the entire universe, a soundless vibration woven into every corner of existence. It is the oldest message known, older than stars, older than galaxies, older than light as we know it. This whisper is not carried by air or sound, but by radiation itself, a ghostly afterglow that hums gently through the void. It is the faint echo of the event that began everything. Everywhere, in all directions, this glow can be found. It is a subtle warmth left behind from the moment when the universe first released its light. To human eyes, it is invisible. To instruments, it appears as a field of soft energy, stretching evenly across the sky, like a cosmic memory that refuses to fade. It is the afterimage of the Big Bang, still pulsing faintly through time. The universe began as an explosion not into space but of space. Everything that exists today was once compressed into a single, incomprehensible point of density and heat. When that point expanded, it carried within it all matter, energy, and time. The afterglow of that expansion has never disappeared. It has only cooled, stretching its wavelength as the universe grew larger. What remains today is a sea of microwaves, a quiet signal that arrives from every direction at once. For a long time, this echo went unnoticed. It existed quietly, surrounding Earth, filling every corner of the sky, yet no one could hear it. When it was finally detected, it was by accident. Two engineers working on a radio antenna found a mysterious noise they could not remove. They cleaned the instrument, chased away pigeons nesting in its curved surface, and adjusted every setting, but the signal remained. It was uniform, constant, unyielding. It came not from Earth, not from the sun, not from any star, but from everywhere at once. They had found the cosmic background itself. That signal was more than noise. It was proof that the universe had once been hot and luminous beyond imagination. The faint microwave hiss was the cooled remnant of that ancient fireball, the first light stretched thin across time. Every measurement of its frequency, every subtle variation in its intensity, carried information about the shape and age of everything that exists. It revealed that the cosmos was not eternal and unchanging, but dynamic, expanding, and filled with structure. To visualize this ancient glow is to imagine an invisible ocean of warmth surrounding every atom. It exists inside the deepest regions of space and within the quiet atmosphere of the Earth. Its temperature is barely above absolute zero, yet it holds the entire history of the cosmos within it. The delicate variations across this radiation are not random, they are the imprints of the earliest fluctuations in density, the first uneven ripples that gravity would later sculpt into galaxies and clusters of stars. These patterns in the background are like the fingerprints of creation. In their arrangement lies the blueprint of cosmic architecture, a faint record of how everything began to gather and separate. The tiniest differences in temperature, measured in fractions of a degree, mark where the universe was slightly denser, slightly more full of potential. Those tiny differences became the framework of everything seen today: the stars, the planets, the intricate web of galaxies that spans billions of light years. The radiation itself has a texture, a softness that hides deep order. When instruments map it, the result looks like a tapestry of speckles and waves, each color representing a slight difference in ancient temperature. This delicate design, drawn in invisible wavelengths, is a portrait of the universe as it once was a child of energy, glowing softly in its earliest dawn. As the universe expanded, this echo dimmed, its wavelength stretched by space itself. What was once blinding light has become a gentle hum, too cold to see, too vast to escape. Yet it remains everywhere, a reminder that the cosmos still carries its own memory. Every moment of existence is bathed in that ancient radiance, as if the beginning never truly ended but continues in the quiet background of time. To sense it, one does not need to travel among the stars. Even the static between radio stations carries traces of it. That faint hiss between channels is a fragment of the first fire, a murmur from the dawn of creation, reaching across more than 13 billion years. It is a voice without words, yet it speaks of everything that has ever been. The echo of the Big Bang is not just evidence of an origin, it is the universe's first self-portrait. It shows that the cosmos is not chaos but harmony, not void but structure. It is a story written in radiation, still unfolding, still traveling outward with every passing second. The light from that first moment continues its endless journey, and in its persistence lies the quiet proof that nothing truly disappears. The universe remembers. It remembers everything. In the vast reaches between stars, there appears to be nothing. The blackness looks absolute, an endless ocean of stillness. Yet this emptiness is not truly empty. Beneath the calm lies motion, beneath the silence lies energy. Space itself, even when stripped of matter, hums with invisible activity. The vacuum is alive. At first glance, it seems impossible. A region without particles should have no sound, no temperature, no movement. But at the smallest scales, existence defies the rules of common sense. Within what appears to be void, space trembles with quantum fluctuations. These are brief flickers of creation, moments when pairs of particles spring into being and vanish almost instantly. They appear from nothing and return to nothing. Yet in that brief heartbeat of existence, they alter the very fabric of reality. Physicists once imagined space as a simple stage where matter performs. Later, they realized the stage itself participates in the act. The vacuum is not a blank background, but a restless sea of potential. Energy rises and falls within it, forming waves that ripple through everything. These fluctuations can never be entirely still because uncertainty itself forbids perfect silence. Even at absolute zero, even in perfect darkness, space cannot stop moving. This invisible activity can be measured. Its effects are subtle but real. The attraction between two uncharged metal plates placed very close together, known as the Casimir effect, is caused by the pressure of virtual particles pushing them together. It is a gentle touch from the vacuum itself, proof that the so-called emptiness possesses force. Even light, when it passes through this field, can be shifted slightly, its behavior altered by the trembling of unseen energy beneath it. In the language of quantum physics, these temporary appearances are called virtual particles, yet their influence shapes the structure of everything. They appear everywhere at once, filling the cosmos with a ceaseless buzz of birth and disappearance. This constant creation and annihilation happens on scales smaller than atoms, smaller than imagination. What looks still is a blur of events, unfolding billions of times each second in every cubic inch of space. If one could see beyond ordinary perception, the void would shimmer like liquid glass. Waves of energy would rise and fall, delicate and endless. Every flicker would represent the possibility of matter, the seed of existence itself. This restless sea is what allows the universe to change, to evolve, to expand. Without this background motion, even time might stop, for time and energy are bound in the same rhythm. Some theories suggest that entire universes may emerge from such fluctuations. If energy within the vacuum grows dense enough, space can inflate, birthing new regions of reality. In this way, the cosmos may be self-replicating, each void holding within it the potential for infinite beginnings. What appears as emptiness may be the most fertile field imaginable, a soil where universes germinate like unseen flowers in the dark. Even gravity responds to this hidden activity. Space curves not only around visible matter, but also around the energy that fills the void. Though it cannot be touched or seen, this energy gives weight to nothingness itself. It stretches the universe, accelerates its expansion, and may one day determine its final fate. In the most literal sense, the emptiness between stars is the engine that drives them apart. This idea reshapes the meaning of reality. The line between something and nothing begins to blur. The vacuum is not absence but presence in its most subtle form. It contains no objects, yet it holds the rules that govern all objects. It carries potential, pressure, and movement. It is the quiet framework upon which the universe hangs its existence. When the eyes look into deep space, they see darkness. But within that darkness lies the origin of all light. Each flicker of quantum motion is a whisper from the foundation of creation, the smallest heartbeat of the cosmos. Space breathes not with air, but with probability. The vacuum is a conversation between what exists and what might exist, an unending dialogue between presence and absence. To understand this is to realize that true emptiness may never exist. Even in the darkest regions beyond galaxies, where no particle has crossed for eons, the field remains alive. The void listens, vibrates, and responds. It is not the space between things, but the thing that connects all else. The universe is not built upon nothing, it is built upon the quiet motion of everything that hides within nothing. In the emptiness, there is energy. In the silence, there is movement. In what appears void, there is infinite possibility. The universe rests upon this restless ground, and from it, all matter rises, all light is born, and all time begins its flow. The vacuum is not empty. It is the breath beneath reality itself. Across the universe, galaxies spin like luminous spirals of fire, held together by invisible threads. Their stars orbit common centers, their arms stretch gracefully outward, yet something unseen keeps them from flying apart. The light we see is not enough to explain their motion. There must be something more, a hidden substance shaping the cosmos from behind, a curtain of invisibility. This unseen mass is called dark matter. It neither shines nor absorbs light. No telescope can capture its form, no spectrum can reveal its color. Yet its influence is everywhere, silently dictating the movement of galaxies, bending the path of light, sculpting the large-scale structure of the universe. It is the invisible architecture of everything. The first clues appeared when astronomers measured how fast stars moved within galaxies. According to known physics, the outer stars should drift more slowly, bound by the pull of the mass within. But their speed did not fall. They moved too quickly, as if pulled by a hidden force, an unseen halo surrounding every galaxy. This invisible halo contained far more mass than all visible stars combined. The same mystery appeared on even larger scales. Galaxies in clusters moved too fast to be held together by their visible contents. Something vast and unobserved had to be binding them. Light from distant galaxies also curved as it passed near these clusters, distorted as though it flowed through invisible glass. The warping revealed the presence of enormous amounts of matter that emitted no glow at all. The conclusion became inescapable. Most of the universe is made of something we cannot see. Ordinary matter, the atoms that make up stars, planets, and living beings, accounts for only a small fraction of existence. The rest lies hidden, silent and cold, influencing everything yet revealing nothing. What is this dark matter made of? No one knows. It does not behave like ordinary particles. It does not collide, burn, or decay in ways that release light. It passes through solid matter as if it was smoke. Billions of these particles may be streaming through every human body at this moment, leaving no trace. They form vast halos around galaxies, extending far beyond their visible edges, shaping the cosmic web that connects everything. Some scientists propose that dark matter consists of particles unlike anything known, weakly interacting massive particles or WIMPs that barely touch the rest of reality. Others imagine axions, particles so light and ghostly they ripple like waves through the vacuum. There are even theories suggesting that dark matter might not be matter at all, but a sign that gravity behaves differently on cosmic scales. Each idea opens a new path, yet none provides certainty. Despite its invisibility, dark matter makes itself known through gravity. Its presence bends the motion of stars and galaxies, shaping the very geometry of space. Without it, galaxies would unravel, stars would scatter, and the universe as we know it would dissolve into chaos. The hidden mass holds the cosmic tapestry together, maintaining the delicate balance that allows structure to exist. Dark matter acts as both guardian and mystery. It provides the scaffolding upon which galaxies are built, yet it hides all evidence of its nature. It is as though the universe wears a cloak, showing only its glittering surface while concealing the deep structure beneath. Every glowing star is merely decoration upon that invisible frame. Even now, experiments buried deep beneath mountains and ice wait, to capture a single interaction with this elusive matter. Sensitive detectors lie in silence, surrounded by rock to shield them from cosmic interference. Scientists watch for the faintest flicker, a single spark that would confirm the presence of what holds the cosmos together. But the darkness remains quiet. It resists detection, keeping its secrets behind a veil of stillness. Some theories suggest that dark matter may not be separate at all, but another reflection of the universe's unseen energy, the shadow of deeper laws not yet known. Perhaps space itself contains layers of existence, and dark matter is simply the echo of another reality overlapping ours. Others propose it could be ancient, formed before the birth of atoms, carrying memories from a time when the universe was raw and unshaped. The truth remains hidden, yet its influence cannot be denied. The stars move according to its will. Galaxies grow in its embrace. Even light itself bends to its unseen command. It rules quietly, without presence or sound, shaping everything from the largest structures in the cosmos to the smallest movements of gravity. To look at the night sky is to see only a fraction of what exists. The luminous parts are brief sparks in a vast sea of shadow. The real universe, the one that holds the stars in place, is dark. It surrounds, supports, and contains everything that glows. The light we see is the exception. The darkness is the rule. The night sky looks eternal, but it is not still. Every point of light drifts slowly away from every other. The universe is stretching, not into emptiness, but as emptiness itself. Space expands, carrying galaxies with it, as if reality were breathing outward. The stars do not move through space. Space itself moves between them. This revelation was one of the most astonishing discoveries in human history. For centuries, people imagined the heavens as fixed, unchanging, a grand dome of eternal constellations. Then came the moment when careful observation revealed that distant galaxies were not standing still. Their light was stretched, its wavelengths pulled toward the red end of the spectrum. The further away a galaxy lay, the greater this redshift appeared. It meant one simple, unimaginable thing. The universe was expanding. The concept was born from mathematics, before observation confirmed it. When the equations of relativity were applied to the cosmos, they refused to remain static. They demanded motion, either contraction or expansion. Reality itself could not stand frozen. It had to evolve. When astronomers measured the skies and found that distant galaxies were receding, the prediction became truth. The cosmos was not a quiet stage, but a living, changing entity. What expands is not matter, but space itself. The galaxies are not rushing through a pre-existing void, the void is growing between them. The distances increase not because of movement through space, but because space stretches, carrying everything within it. Imagine dots painted on the surface of an inflating balloon. As the balloon expands, the dots drift apart, not because they move, but because the surface beneath them grows. So too does the universe. This expansion began with unimaginable force, an event of pure motion that has never ceased. Even now, billions of years later, the stretching continues, silent and unstoppable. Every second, the fabric of the cosmos extends farther, creating more space for more light to travel, more time for more change to unfold. What drives this expansion is something even stranger than dark matter. There is a force working against gravity itself, a mysterious pressure that pushes everything apart. It has no sound, no texture, no measurable form. It is called dark energy, and it fills all of space. Unlike matter, which weakens as it spreads out, dark energy remains constant. The more space it creates, the more of it there is. This makes the expansion accelerate, a runaway process that grows faster with time. The consequences of this discovery are immense. The universe will not remain as it is. The stars that now seem eternal will drift too far to be seen. Galaxies that shine brightly today will vanish beyond the reach of light. The night sky, in the distant future, will fade until only the faint glow of the nearest stars remains. Space will stretch faster than light can cross it, isolating each island of matter in a sea of emptiness. Even now, that process has begun. The space between galaxies grows wider every moment. Light traveling from distant worlds arrives redder and weaker, its energy drained by the expanding fabric it crosses. What was once bright becomes faint. What was once near becomes unreachable. The cosmos, though vast, is growing lonelier with time. There is a strange beauty in this. The universe is not static because it is alive. Its constant expansion is not decay, but a form of evolution, the natural breath of existence. Every widening distance carries the memory of the first moment of creation, when energy burst forth into being. That first outward surge has never ended. The universe continues that motion eternally, each instant a continuation of the beginning. If one could watch the cosmos from outside, it would appear as a great, invisible tide flowing outward in all directions. Galaxies, like luminous islands, ride upon that tide, bound within it yet helpless to resist. The expansion is not violent. It is serene, patient, inevitable. No explosion, no boundary, just a steady unfolding of reality into itself. The human mind struggles with such scale. Expansion means distance, and distance means time. The light from a galaxy billions of years away shows how it once looked, not how it is now. What we see of the universe is always history, a record of what has already expanded. The stars above may already be farther than their light suggests, their positions long changed, their shapes transformed by the invisible motion of the cosmos. And yet, within this growing space, matter gathers, stars are born, and life emerges. The expansion creates room for everything to exist. It is not emptiness spreading, it is potential unfolding. Each moment of cosmic growth allows new patterns, new structures, and new dreams to form. The universe expands, and through that expansion, creation continues. To gaze into the night sky is to see this motion frozen in time. Every photon of light that reaches the eyes is stretched by the growth of space it crossed. The faint redness of distant galaxies is a signature of the universe's own breath. It is the imprint of expansion itself, written in the language of light. The cosmos stretches not into something else, but into itself. Space gives birth to more space, endlessly, silently. The expansion is not an explosion to be witnessed, but a rhythm to be felt, the heartbeat of existence, still echoing from the moment it began. Nothingness expands, and in doing so, creates everything. The universe is vast beyond measure. There are hundreds of billions of galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars. Around many of those stars, planets circle quietly, worlds that may glow with oceans, winds, and storms. In all that immensity, there should be life. Somewhere among the stars, there should be voices, signals, civilizations reaching outward. Yet the cosmos remains silent. No transmission calls across the void. No reply ever comes. This is the paradox that unsettles the imagination. If the universe is filled with places where life could thrive, why does the night sky speak nothing back? It is called the Great Silence, a mystery not of absence, but of quiet. The ingredients for life are everywhere. The same atoms that formed Earth and its oceans are scattered through the dust of every galaxy. Carbon, nitrogen, water, and energy exist in abundance. Statistically, life should not be rare. But probability does not make sound. For generations, humanity has listened. Radio telescopes scan the heavens, turning across the sky in slow, precise arcs. They listen for signals that repeat, patterns too deliberate to be natural. None have arrived. The universe, so filled with light, offers no message. The silence deepens, and with it grows a strange kind of awareness that existence may be more isolated than once believed. Some believe the silence hides life rather than denies it. Perhaps civilizations speak in ways we cannot yet hear, using technologies that merge with the fabric of physics itself. Perhaps their signals fade before reaching us, lost in the stretching of space. A radio wave from a distant world may expand with the universe until it dissolves into background noise. Distance is not just far away, it is time itself, and time erases even the strongest voice. There is also the possibility that life flourishes but remains quiet by choice. A civilization may learn that to speak is to be seen, and to be seen is to invite danger. The cosmos may be like a dark forest where every species hides, aware that other hunters may listen. In such a universe, survival demands silence. The quiet would then not be emptiness, but caution the hush of countless worlds watching, listening, waiting. Others imagine a more haunting explanation. Perhaps intelligence is fragile, a spark that rarely survives its own awakening. Civilizations may rise and vanish before their voices can cross the stars. Their monuments crumble, their light fades, and the signal of their existence never escapes the cage of time. The cosmos may be full of tombs, silent worlds orbiting dead suns, their histories lost to the endless dark. Still, hope persists. The same silence that isolates also invites wonder. It reminds that life, as fragile as it may be, has already achieved the impossible. It has learned to look outward. On a small blue planet, consciousness has lifted its gaze and built machines to listen to the universe. Even if no answer comes, the act of listening connects humanity to the infinite. The silence becomes a mirror, reflecting curiosity itself. The search continues in many forms. Scientists now listen not only for radio signals, but for chemical traces in the atmospheres of distant planets, for artificial light that might glow around alien worlds, for structures large enough to block a star's brightness. Every observation carries the same quiet question: are we alone? The answer, if it ever comes, will not only change our understanding of the cosmos, but of ourselves. Yet there is a beauty in the quiet. The absence of sound allows imagination to fill the void. The silence of the universe becomes a space where thought can wander freely. Each star becomes a possibility, each world a question without answer. The stillness holds both comfort and longing, comfort in the order of the cosmos, longing in the mystery of its emptiness. If there are other minds, they may be looking back, seeing the same stars, wondering the same things. Across uncountable distances, curiosity may mirror itself. The silence that separates might also unite, for it is shared. Both sides wait for a sign, both caught in the same vast quiet. The stars keep their distance, but wonder bridges it. The great silence is not a void to be feared. It is a reminder of scale, of patience, of humility. It teaches that existence itself may be the rarest form of communication. The very act of being alive and aware, of thinking and asking, is the universe speaking through consciousness. The silence is not rejection. It is the pause between breaths in a cosmic conversation that may yet begin. And so, beneath the endless night, the listening continues. The instruments wait, the stars burn, the sky remains calm, patient, and wordless. Whether the silence hides life or reveals solitude, it holds the same quiet truth that to listen is to belong to the universe. The great silence is not empty. It is the sound of everything waiting to be understood. Every point of light in the night sky is a story in motion. Each star, though it may appear eternal, is a living entity, born, aging, and destined to fade. Stars are not fixed jewels scattered across space. They are the engines of creation, the beating hearts of the universe. They are born from dust and gas. They live through the dance of fusion, and they die in acts of transformation that shape the very fabric of matter. The story of a star begins in darkness. Within vast clouds of gas and dust, gravity begins to whisper. The atoms, scattered and cold, start to drift together under its pull. Slowly, invisibly, a knot forms. As it gathers mass, the pressure at its center grows, squeezing atoms closer and closer until they no longer behave as separate things. The temperature rises to millions of degrees. Then, in one magnificent moment, fusion ignites. Hydrogen atoms merge to form helium, releasing light and heat that push against gravity's relentless grip. A star is born. That first burst of light is a kind of awakening. It marks the moment when gravity and energy find balance, when collapse meets resistance, when darkness learns to shine. From then on, the star exists in delicate equilibrium. Every second, countless atoms fuse in its core, creating the energy that radiates across space. The light that leaves its surface may travel for billions of years before touching another world. That journey, silent and unbroken, makes each photon a messenger of time. The lifespan of a star depends on its mass. The small ones, like quiet embers, burn slowly, living for trillions of years, longer than the universe has yet existed. The large ones, massive and proud, blaze through their fuel with furious speed, shining so intensely that their lives last only a few million years. In both, the same process unfolds a ceaseless alchemy of elements, forging new matter from the simplest building blocks. In their hearts, stars create the ingredients of everything that will ever exist. The hydrogen that filled the early universe becomes helium, then carbon, oxygen, iron, and beyond. Each element in every planet, in every body, was once made in the core of a star. They are the universe's great forges, transforming simplicity into complexity. When a star breathes, the cosmos evolves, but balance cannot last forever. When a star's hydrogen fuel runs low, its core begins to change. Gravity tightens its hold again, crushing the core until it heats enough to ignite new kinds of fusion. The outer layers expand, swelling into immense, luminous shells. The star becomes a red giant, glowing with deep crimson fire, its atmosphere stretching far into space. For a time, it lives in grandeur, burning brighter even as it approaches its end. The death of a star is not an ending but a transformation. The smaller ones release their outer layers gently, forming beautiful clouds of glowing gas called nebulae. At their centers, the cores cool into white dwarfs, dense, small, and silent remnants that will fade slowly over billions of years. The larger stars meet a far more violent fate. When their cores can no longer resist gravity, they collapse in an instant, creating a supernova. A supernova is an explosion so powerful it can outshine an entire galaxy. For a brief moment, one dying star becomes brighter than billions of others combined. In that flash, heavy elements scatter into space: gold, silver, uranium, the materials that will one day form planets and life. The death of a star becomes the birth of everything else. From destruction, creation continues. Sometimes, the core that remains is crushed beyond all imagination. It becomes a neutron star, a city-sized sphere so dense that a spoonful of its matter would outweigh mountains. Or, if the star was massive enough, it collapses entirely into a black hole, a point where gravity becomes infinite and time stands still. These remnants are not truly dead. They continue to influence the universe, shaping space and swallowing light. The story of a star never truly ends. The light that shines above Earth each night is ancient. Some of those stars have already died, their final light still crossing the endless gulf of space, arriving long after their last fusion faded. To look at them is to peer into the past, to see history written in photons. The sky is a living archive of stellar memory. Stars do not exist in isolation. They form in clusters, orbit one another, and shape their surroundings. Their radiation carves patterns in nearby clouds, triggering the birth of new stars. In this way, they pass their energy forward, generation to generation, like a cosmic inheritance. The galaxy breathes through them, expanding its light through their endless cycles of life and death. To understand the secret lives of stars is to understand the rhythm of existence itself. Every beginning is born from collapse. Every ending seeds creation. The same light that warms the Earth today began as the breath of dying stars that existed before the sun was born. Each heartbeat, each spark of thought, each atom of breath is a continuation of that process. The stars above do not simply shine, they are alive in their own language of physics and fire. Their glow is not merely illumination but memory, energy made visible, motion given voice. They are the witnesses of time, the quiet storytellers of the universe, burning patiently in the dark. And though their lives span millions or billions of years, they remind that every moment, no matter how brief, can give rise to eternity. There comes a moment in the life of every massive star when its strength begins to fail. The fuel that once burned so brightly in its heart runs low. Fusion, the process that held gravity in balance, slows. The energy pushing outward weakens, but gravity does not forgive weakness. Slowly, then suddenly, the core of the star begins to fall inward. Its collapse is silent, swift, and unstoppable. At first, the outer layers try to resist. They expand one last time, glowing with furious brilliance, but the inward pull is absolute. In a fraction of a second, the core implodes, compressing billions of tons of matter into a space no larger than a city. The collapse releases more energy than the star produced in its entire life. For a brief instant, the dying giant outshines its entire galaxy. The explosion that follows is one of the most violent events in the cosmos, a supernova, a cosmic rebirth written in fire. But sometimes, even that explosion is not enough. The collapsing core does not stop. The matter within it compresses beyond the point where atoms can exist. Protons and electrons merge into neutrons, forming a neutron star, so dense that a teaspoon of its substance outweighs mountains. Its surface glows with residual heat, and its rotation is so rapid that beams of energy shoot from its poles, sweeping across the cosmos like the ticking of a cosmic clock. Yet for some stars, even this is not the final fate. When gravity crushes a core beyond the neutron stage, there is no known force that can resist it. The matter continues to fall inward until all concept of structure disappears. Space and time fold into a singularity, a region where density becomes infinite, and the known laws of physics can no longer describe what happens. Around this singularity, space curves so sharply that not even light can escape. A black hole is born. A black hole is not an object in the ordinary sense. It is a region of distorted space, a wound in the geometry of the universe. Its boundary, called the event horizon, is the point of no return. Anything that crosses it, matter, light, or even time itself, cannot emerge again. Beyond that boundary, all paths lead inward, all moments converge toward the center where existence collapses into mystery. Though invisible, black holes reveal themselves through their influence. They warp the orbits of nearby stars, draw matter into glowing disks of heat, and bend light so that it circles around them in halos. Their gravity is so intense that time slows near them, stretching seconds into eternities. For an outside observer, anything falling toward a black hole appears to freeze at the edge, its image fading, never quite crossing the threshold. But for the falling object, the journey continues inward, unseen and irreversible. The idea of such entities once seemed impossible, yet the mathematics of relativity predicted them long before observation confirmed their existence. The equations of gravity did not forbid infinite collapse, they demanded it. Space itself, under extreme compression, must curve to such a degree that escape becomes impossible. The universe, in its own logic, allows these dark hearts to form regions where creation folds back into silence. The space around a black hole is not empty. Matter that spirals inward forms an accretion disk, heated by friction until it glows brighter than most stars. In that final dance before disappearance, the matter emits immense energy, sometimes creating jets that shoot across galaxies at nearly the speed of light. These jets, born from the edge of nothingness, are among the most powerful forces in existence. From death, new light emerges. At the centers of galaxies, black holes grow colossal, billions of times more massive than the Sunday. These supermassive giants govern the motion of entire stellar systems, shaping the galaxies themselves. The Milky Way has one, silent and hidden, its presence known only through the stars that circle it in invisible obedience. Every orbit, every shimmer of light in the galaxy carries the influence of that unseen core. The existence of black holes raises questions that pierce the edge of understanding. What happens to the matter that falls inside? Is it destroyed? Or does it continue in some form beyond the horizon? Does the singularity contain another reality, another universe born from collapse? No one can see beyond that veil, for the light that could tell the story never escapes. The boundary between knowledge and mystery lies there, at the edge of a black hole, where reality curves into the unknown. Though they represent destruction, black holes are also keepers of structure. They shape galaxies, regulate star formation, and recycle matter through their gravitational influence. Their silence sustains the balance of the cosmos. The collapse into darkness is not the end of meaning. It is the universe folding its energy back into itself, preparing for the next act of creation. To look upon the concept of a black hole is to confront the limits of comprehension. Within that invisible sphere, time, space, and matter cease to behave as they should. It is not death, but transformation, a reminder that the universe itself is built on cycles of collapse and rebirth. The stars that die in darkness give rise to the light that follows. Even in silence, the cosmos continues to breathe. In the heart of every black hole lies a contradiction that challenges the foundation of understanding. According to the rules of physics, nothing that crosses the event horizon can return. Yet, according to the rules of quantum mechanics, information, the essence of what something is, can never be destroyed. Both cannot be true, and yet both seem to be. This tension is known as the information paradox, a mystery that sits at the crossroads of reality itself. To understand the paradox, one must first imagine what happens as something falls toward a black hole. A star, a planet, even a single atom as it nears the event horizon. Light from it stretches and fades, redshifted until it vanishes from sight. To an outside observer, it appears frozen in time, forever approaching but never crossing the boundary. For the object itself, the experience is different. It falls inward without pause, carried by gravity toward a center that defies comprehension. Once inside, it vanishes from the known universe. The information that described its structure, its motion, its particles all seems to disappear. But disappearance is not destruction. In the language of physics, information cannot simply vanish. The arrangement of particles, their quantum states, their energy, all of it must persist somewhere, in some form. Yet, inside a black hole, that information is trapped beyond any possibility of retrieval. It cannot escape, because even light cannot. The question then arises, where does it go? The paradox emerged when the idea of black hole evaporation entered the story. According to quantum theory, the vacuum around a black hole is not truly empty. Virtual particles constantly appear and annihilate near the event horizon. Occasionally, one of these particles escapes, stealing a bit of the black hole's mass in the process. Over immense timescales, this radiation causes the black hole to shrink, eventually evaporating completely. This radiation is called Hawking radiation, faint, cold, and relentless. If a black hole can evaporate, what happens to the information it contained? If it vanishes entirely, that would mean information is destroyed, violating one of the deepest laws of quantum mechanics. If it remains, where is it stored? The universe cannot simply forget. The paradox becomes a mirror, reflecting the limits of human comprehension. Some physicists propose that information might be preserved on the surface of the event horizon itself, encoded in patterns of quantum fluctuations. This idea, called the holographic principle, suggests that the three-dimensional universe we experience could be a projection from information imprinted on a two-dimensional surface. In this view, the black hole does not swallow information but translates it, storing it as a kind of cosmic memory etched upon its edge. Others believe the radiation itself carries faint imprints of the information outward. If true, it would mean that the process of evaporation slowly releases knowledge back into the universe, particle by particle, in ways almost impossible to detect. The black hole would not destroy, but rewrite dissolving matter and light into a new form of message, dispersed across eternity. Still, the mystery remains unsolved. The equations of relativity and quantum mechanics describe reality in different languages. One speaks of smooth space and continuous motion, the other of discrete energy and probability. Where they meet inside the black hole, their words contradict each other. The paradox of information is not merely a technical puzzle. It is the point where two great visions of the universe collide. To imagine the information of a fallen star scattered as radiation across space is to think of existence itself as a story that never truly ends. The forms may vanish, but the record remains. Somewhere in the structure of the cosmos, the trace of every event, every particle, every breath is preserved. The universe may be a vast library, endlessly rewriting itself, but never losing a single line. This idea transforms the way one sees reality. If all information is eternal, then nothing is truly lost, not the collapse of stars, not the fading of light, not even the passing of thought. The universe becomes a system that remembers, a network that stores every moment within its structure. Each black hole, then, is not a destroyer, but an archivist keeping secrets in silence, hidden until the laws of nature can reveal them again. Some thinkers wonder if black holes are not endpoints but bridges. The information they hold might not be trapped, but transferred elsewhere, perhaps to another region of space, another universe, another layer of existence. In this view, every collapse may lead to creation elsewhere, every disappearance to emergence. The paradox becomes not destruction, but transformation. And yet, mystery endures. No observation can confirm what happens inside. The event horizon remains an uncrossable curtain, and the laws within remain unknown. The paradox of information stands as a reminder that knowledge itself has boundaries, that even the universe keeps secrets. It teaches that the act of questioning is as sacred as the answer. To gaze upon a black hole is to look into the reflection of one's own limits. It is a challenge whispered by gravity, asking whether reality can be complete if understanding ends at its edge. The paradox does not silence curiosity, it fuels it, for within every contradiction lies the invitation to see more deeply. The universe hides nothing out of cruelty, but to encourage the mind to reach further into the dark. At the smallest scales of existence, the universe behaves unlike anything familiar. Here, distance loses meaning, and certainty dissolves into probability. Particles appear not as tiny spheres, but as waves of potential, sometimes here, sometimes there, sometimes both. In this invisible realm, reality flickers, not as a continuous line, but as countless possibilities unfolding all at once. It is a world where matter, time, and even causality blur into something both strange and astonishing. This is the domain of quantum mechanics, the language of the very small. It describes a universe made not of solid things, but of relationships, patterns of information woven through energy. In this world, particles do not exist in fixed positions until they are observed. Their behavior is described by waves of probability, mathematical clouds that represent all the ways something could be. Observation does not simply reveal reality, it helps create it. The act of measurement collapses possibility into fact. Among the most haunting mysteries in this realm is entanglement. When two particles become linked through interaction, their properties remain connected no matter how far apart they travel. If one particle spins in one direction, the other spins in the opposite. Change one, and the other responds instantly, as though distance does not exist between them. They act not as two objects, but as one system spread across space. This connection seems to defy the limits of speed. Even light, the universe's fastest messenger, cannot explain such instantaneous coordination. Einstein once called it spooky action at a distance, uneasy with how it appeared to break the boundaries of causality. Yet repeated experiments confirm it. Entangled particles remain bound in ways that transcend separation. Their communication happens without a signal, without delay, as if they share a single existence across the cosmos. To grasp this idea is to challenge the very notion of space. The universe may not be a vast collection of objects scattered through emptiness, but a single, interconnected whole. Distance becomes an illusion born of limited perception. Every point in space could be entangled with every other, woven into a deeper layer of unity that underlies the visible world. What appears separate may only seem so because consciousness divides what is, in truth, continuous. This hidden unity suggests that reality operates like a vast quantum network, its nodes linked by threads beyond time. Every particle, every star, every living being participates in this network. On the smallest scales, information flows without resistance. On the largest scales, it creates coherence, the harmony that allows the universe to hold its form. Entanglement, then, is not a curiosity. It may be the structure of existence itself. The phenomenon also hints at something profoundly intimate. If matter everywhere can remain connected across light years, then perhaps the cosmos is not a place of isolation, but of shared origin. The same laws that bind distant particles also bind galaxies, suns, and life. The fabric of space is not a void between things, it is the bond that joins them. Reality, in this sense, is a single, unbroken field of relation. From this idea emerges the possibility that consciousness and matter are not entirely separate. The act of observation changes what is observed. Awareness, in its simplest form, seems to play a role in how potential becomes reality. This does not mean the mind creates the universe, but rather that mind and universe participate in the same unfolding process, two aspects of the same field, perceiving and being perceived. In this vision, what we call the real may be a projection from a deeper, more fundamental layer. The visible world, full of form and motion, might be an expression of patterns existing in pure information. This concept echoes through theories of quantum gravity, where space-time itself could emerge from the entanglement of underlying states. In other words, space and time may not be the foundation of reality, but consequences of something even more profound. If this is true, then the universe is not a machine, but a thought, not a collection of objects, but an expression of connection. Every point touches every other, not through distance, but through unity. Entanglement becomes the whisper of this truth, the hint that existence is both many and one. To imagine such a cosmos is to envision a space between realities, the unseen realm where possibility becomes presence. In this in-between place, particles communicate in silence, sharing knowledge without motion. It is a realm of pure coherence, where the distinction between here and there dissolves. Space, in its deepest nature, is not emptiness but relation, the invisible thread that binds all that ever was and all that ever will be. The universe does not seem to keep secrets. It simply speaks a language of subtlety. Entanglement is one of its gentlest syllables, a soft reminder that every piece of reality is part of a single story. When one looks at the night sky and feels both distance and closeness at once, it may be an echo of this truth, that the stars, though far away, remain part of the same pattern, shining through the same fabric that connects every living mind. Time seems so simple when measured by clocks and calendars. It flows forward, steady and familiar, a river carrying every life from beginning to end. Yet, when examined through the lens of physics, time reveals itself to be far more fluid, elastic, and complex. It is not an absolute background against which events unfold, but a dimension woven into the same fabric as space. The shape of time bends, stretches, and folds in ways that defy ordinary experience. Einstein's insight changed everything. He showed that space and time are not separate. They form a single entity, space-time. Mass and energy do not merely exist within this fabric. They shape it. Where matter is dense, space-time curves. This curvature is what we feel as gravity. And when space-time curves, time itself changes pace. Near massive objects, time runs slower. In the emptiness between galaxies, it flows more freely. Every clock, from the simplest wristwatch to the beating of a heart, measures this changing rhythm. A second on one world may not equal a second on another. An astronaut orbiting a black hole would experience moments while ages pass for those far away. Time is not uniform, it is relative. The cosmos measures existence not by a single rhythm but by countless tempos playing in harmony. Even light is bound by this symphony. It always moves at the same speed, yet what surrounds it, the warping of space-time, determines how it travels. The path of a beam bending near a star is also the bending of time around gravity. The universe is not just vast in space but in temporal shape, a landscape of durations and delays. To picture time is to imagine an ocean of flowing currents. Each moment does not follow the last like beads on a string. Instead, they form waves that can rise, slow, and ripple through the continuum. The present is not a razor's edge separating past from future, but a region that expands and contracts with motion and gravity. The faster one moves, the slower time flows. The greater the gravitational pull, the deeper into the current one sinks. This strange flexibility creates possibilities that stretch imagination. If time slows enough near a massive object, an observer far away might see the approach to that region as taking forever, while the traveler experiences only moments. To cross certain thresholds, like those near black holes, may mean entering a realm where time nearly stops. What would existence mean in such a place? For the universe, the difference between stillness and eternity becomes a matter of perspective. At the same time, quantum physics whispers an even stranger idea. On the smallest scales, time may not flow continuously at all. It could come in discrete steps, like frames in a cosmic film. Between these frames, the laws of cause and effect may lose meaning. Events could appear before their causes, or exist simultaneously. Time, rather than a smooth line, could be a flickering sequence of possibilities that only solidify when observed. In certain equations describing the universe as a whole, time does not even appear. The fundamental laws seem to work without it. as if the cosmos exists entirely in the eternal present, and what we perceive as motion and change is a pattern within something timeless. From this perspective, time is not a river, but a tapestry. The past, present, and future are all part of a single, unbroken design, woven together and complete. For human beings, time remains both friend and mystery. It defines life, growth, decay, memory, anticipation. Yet in the language of physics, it is something malleable, something shaped by where we are and how we move. The same instant can be eternity for one observer and a blink for another. To grasp the shape of time is to glimpse the hidden geometry of existence itself. The arrow of time, the sense that the past is gone and the future awaits, arises from the tendency of disorder to increase. Entropy gives time its direction. A shattered glass does not reassemble. A wave does not return to the crest from which it fell. Yet, on the level of fundamental laws, there is no true direction. The equations of motion work equally well forward or backward. The asymmetry that defines experience is born not from the laws of physics, but from the conditions in which the universe began. So, time, as lived, is a combination of cosmic design and perception. The mind rides its flow, remembering what has been and imagining what will come, while the universe itself may exist as a single eternal structure. Each moment already exists somewhere in that vast continuum, just as each star already burns or fades in its place. Movement through time may be an illusion born of awareness traveling through an already completed reality. If one could step outside this continuum and see the universe as a whole, there would be no before or after, only the totality of being. Birth, growth, decay, and death would appear as shapes within a single pattern, beautiful, complete, unbroken. The shape of time would not be a line but a landscape, its valleys and peaks formed by the gravity of existence. In this view, the past is never truly gone, and the future is not yet written because it already exists, waiting to be discovered. Time is not a cage but a canvas, and every being, every motion, every heartbeat leaves its mark upon it. To live within time is to walk the folds of eternity, tracing the contours of a universe that continues to unfold, moment by moment, forever. Beyond the glowing stars and radiant galaxies lies a hidden structure, vast and intricate, that binds the cosmos together. It cannot be seen with the eyes or captured by ordinary light, yet it is there, the silent scaffolding upon which all things rest. Astronomers call it the cosmic web, an immense network of filaments stretching across the universe, connecting galaxies like beads on invisible strings. It is the architecture of everything, drawn not by hands but by gravity and time. This structure began as a whisper in the early universe. When matter first condensed from the uniform haze of creation, small differences in density appeared, faint ripples, almost imperceptible. Over billions of years, gravity amplified those ripples, pulling matter toward the densest regions. Slowly, delicate strands began to form, connecting clusters of galaxies through immense filaments of gas and dark matter. Between these filaments lie vast voids, empty expanses so large that entire galaxies could drift through them unnoticed. If one could see the universe from far beyond its edge, it would look like a vast, glowing web. The filaments would shimmer with light from galaxies scattered along their length, their intersections forming brilliant nodes where clusters of thousands of galaxies gather. The voids between them would appear as immense bubbles of darkness, cosmic hollows stretching for hundreds of millions of light years. This grand geometry is not random. It is the natural pattern that emerges when gravity shapes matter on the largest scale imaginable. The cosmic web reveals that the universe is not evenly filled. Most of its matter is not concentrated in stars or planets, but in these invisible threads. Within them lies dark matter, the mysterious substance that outweighs everything visible. Though unseen, it is the true builder of cosmic structure. Its gravitational pull gathered ordinary matter into the patterns that became galaxies and clusters. Where dark matter density was greatest, stars formed, and light began to shine. The visible universe is only the luminous decoration on a far greater frame. Computer simulations have allowed scientists to recreate this grand design. Starting from simple equations and the faint ripples imprinted in the early cosmos, these simulations show the web unfolding over time. thin filaments stretching, connecting, merging, and weaving into intricate shapes. The resemblance to organic patterns is uncanny. It looks like the structure of neurons in a brain, or the filigree of veins in a leaf. The cosmos, on its grandest scale, mirrors the complexity of life. Within each filament, galaxies are not static points. They flow along the threads, drawn by the gravity of clusters at the intersections. This slow migration continues even now. Over billions of years, the web evolves, its strands tightening, its voids widening, its nodes growing heavier. It is a living network, expanding and changing with the rhythm of cosmic time. The cosmic web also serves as the great highway of matter. Gas moves through it, feeding galaxies and fueling the birth of new stars. Streams of hydrogen flow along the filaments, invisible rivers connecting distant regions. The light from young galaxies sometimes reveals these pathways indirectly, glowing faintly as it passes through the gas that fills the threads. These filaments are not only structural but nourishing, carrying the raw material for creation itself. To grasp the scale of this architecture is nearly impossible. A single filament can stretch across hundreds of millions of light years, yet its thickness is delicate compared to its length, like a strand of silk spanning the universe. The web is so vast that the human mind cannot truly imagine it, but through instruments and mathematics, its presence becomes undeniable. It is the unseen order behind the chaos of stars. Even the voids play their part. They are not completely empty. Faint traces of matter drift through them, guided by the faintest pull of the web. These regions act as the lungs of the cosmos, expanding and allowing the denser filaments to grow. The contrast between fullness and emptiness gives the universe its texture. Without the voids, the filaments would not stand out. Without the filaments, the voids would have no meaning. Together they form the balance that defines the structure of existence. The cosmic web reminds that the universe is not random chaos, but a system of connection. Everything is linked: galaxies, stars, planets, and perhaps even consciousness itself. The same forces that sculpted this grand design also shape the world at every scale. Gravity is not just attraction. It is the handwriting of the universe, the invisible calligraphy that joins all matter into one continuous pattern. To look up at the night sky is to see only fragments of this vast design. Each star belongs to a galaxy, and each galaxy to a filament that stretches beyond sight. The light that reaches the eyes tonight may have traveled along these ancient threads, crossing voids, gliding past clusters, following the lines of the cosmic web. Though unseen, the architecture holds everything together, binding the scattered lights of the universe into a single, connected whole. In that hidden lattice lies a reflection of unity. The cosmos, for all its distances and silences, is one great structure, a web of connection reaching across eternity. Within its design, humanity occupies a single bright node, small, brief, but part of the grand network that began with the first breath of creation. The invisible architecture of the universe is not only the map of space, it is the pattern of existence itself, reminding that nothing, not even emptiness, stands alone. Far from the warmth of stars, in the spaces between galaxies, there are realms where temperature sinks to nearly nothing. These are the coldest places in existence, where motion slows until even atoms barely stir. It is a silence so deep that time itself seems to drift more slowly. The heat of creation has long since faded there, leaving only the faint residue of the universe's first light, a chill that whispers of eternity. In the great voids between clusters of galaxies, the temperature can drop to just a few degrees above absolute zero. There, the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, provides the only warmth, its faint radiation permeating everything. This temperature, roughly 2.7 degrees above absolute zero, is the baseline of the cosmos. It is the soft breath that remains from when the universe was young and filled with fire. Everything colder than that must shield itself from the universe's own faint glow. Some of the most frigid regions are found within dark nebulae, dense clouds of dust and gas where starlight cannot reach. These clouds act like cosmic blankets, blocking radiation and letting their interiors cool. Inside, molecules move so slowly that chemistry nearly stops. Yet even in this frozen stillness, stars are born. The cold allows gas to condense, gravity to gather strength, and matter to begin its long journey toward ignition. Creation, paradoxically, begins in the deepest cold. There are also objects that defy imagination in their chill rogue planets, drifting in the dark, long separated from their stars. Without sunlight, their surfaces plunge to hundreds of degrees below freezing. Ice may cover them in layers thicker than mountains, while their cores retain only the faintest heat from ancient formation. These wanderers glide through the black, silent and invisible, carrying the memory of lost suns. Even colder are the remnants of dead stars. White dwarfs, once brilliant, slowly fade over billions of years, their light dimming as they radiate away their last warmth. Theoretical physics predicts that, given enough time, these remnants will cool completely, becoming black dwarfs, stars so cold they emit no light at all. None yet exist, for the universe is not old enough for such deep cooling to have finished. But in distant epochs to come, when even the galaxies grow faint, these dark remnants will fill the night, silent witnesses to a universe approaching its final rest. Yet the coldest places of all are found in laboratories on Earth. Within carefully built chambers, scientists have managed to cool atoms to temperatures unimaginably close to absolute zero, just billionths of a degree above it. In these experiments, matter behaves in ways that defy intuition. At such low temperatures, atoms merge into collective states called Bose-Einstein condensates, where they move as a single, unified entity. They act less like particles and more like waves, blurring together into one coherent presence. In the cold, matter reveals its quantum soul. Absolute zero itself, at 0 Kelvin, is a boundary that nature does not allow to be crossed. To reach it would mean stopping all motion, completely freezing every vibration, every flicker of energy. But even in the most extreme conditions, there remains a trace of movement, a quantum restlessness that can never be removed. This residual energy, known as zero-point energy, means that the universe can never be truly still. The coldest emptiness still hums with invisible motion. There is a strange poetry in these extremes. The cold does not merely destroy, it preserves. In interstellar space, molecules that would normally break apart instead survive for eons, locked in icy stasis. Comets, ancient fragments from the birth of planets, drift through the cold carrying the original ingredients of worlds. The chill protects memory, keeping the story of creation intact across billions of years. The deepest cold is also the great equalizer. In its presence, all distinctions fade. Heat, motion, and structure lose their meaning. Time slows, reactions halt, and energy hides within stillness. In such places, the universe seems to approach its simplest form, a quiet equilibrium, where nothing changes because nothing can. Yet even here, life finds a strange connection. The warmth of every sun, every flame, every living body exists only in contrast to this universal cold. Without the dark backdrop of near absolute zero, heat would have no meaning. Every spark, every glow, every breath is a defiance of that chill, a statement that motion still exists. The cold defines what it means to be alive. In the far future, when stars have burned their last fuel and galaxies have drifted apart, the universe will sink ever closer to this final cold. Photons will stretch until their energy fades into darkness. Matter will decay into whispers of particles, each carrying less and less vitality. The cosmos will not end in fire, but in frost, fading into a sea of stillness. Yet within that stillness will remain the echo of all that once was the memory of warmth, the trace of motion, the story of light. To think of the coldest places is to glimpse the edge of existence, where energy gives way to rest, where time loses its urgency, and where the universe contemplates itself in silence. The cold does not erase, it reveals. It shows that even in the quietest, darkest corners of space, something endures a faint vibration, a lingering hum, the promise that nothing is ever truly nothing. In the catalogue of worlds scattered across the galaxy, there are planets so strange that they challenge every rule thought to govern their formation. They circle their stars in impossible orbits, burn with unexpected heat, or glitter with surfaces that seem carved from fantasy. Astronomers, searching for familiar reflections of Earth, instead find places that defy imagination, planets that by all reason should not exist, yet do. When the first exoplanets were discovered, scientists expected them to resemble the worlds of our own system. They imagined rocky planets near their stars, gas giants farther away, and neat families of orbits arranged by gravity's quiet logic. What they found instead was chaos giant planets, orbiting so close to their suns that their atmospheres boil away, worlds that spin backward, and planets floating freely through space without any star at all. Each discovery seemed to rewrite the rules of creation. One of the most astonishing kinds of world is the hot Jupiter. These are massive gas planets like Jupiter, but orbiting closer to their stars than Mercury does to the Sunday. Their years last only a few days, and their temperatures soar high enough to melt metal. The fierce radiation from their suns rips particles from their atmospheres, forming glowing tails that trail behind them like comets. According to the original theories of planet formation, such giants could not have formed so close to a star, yet they exist in abundance. They likely began in the cold outer regions and migrated inward, reshaping their systems as they came. There are also planets that defy the expected balance between heat and light. Some orbit pulsars, the dense remnants of exploded stars that emit deadly beams of radiation. These worlds endure constant bombardment from cosmic rays, yet they remain intact, circling the remnants of catastrophe. Others exist in the frozen outer darkness, their skies dim and empty, receiving almost no warmth at all. Some of these may harbor oceans of liquid beneath thick layers of ice, warmed only by the faint heat of their interiors. Even more bizarre are planets made largely of exotic materials. Astronomers have found evidence of worlds so carbon-rich that they may be made largely of diamond. Under immense pressure deep below their surfaces, carbon crystallizes into glittering cores that could span thousands of kilometers. There are planets where iron rains from the sky, where glass storms whip across the atmosphere at thousands of kilometers per hour, and where molten rock flows like rivers beneath blazing clouds. Each one is a contradiction, a laboratory of extremes sculpted by the laws of physics pushed to their limits. Some planets orbit two suns, tracing graceful loops through skies where dawn and dusk come twice each day. Their light changes in ways no human eye has ever seen, golden one hour, crimson the next. Others are locked in perpetual twilight, one hemisphere scorched, the other frozen, forever divided between day and night. On such worlds, the border between light and dark becomes a habitable ring, a thin twilight band, where temperature and time balance in fragile harmony. There are also planets that roam the galaxy untethered. These are the orphans of creation, ejected from their systems by the gravitational chaos of their youth. Without a star to warm them, they wander in silence, illuminated only by the faint glow of their internal heat. Some may carry frozen oceans beneath shells of ice, preserved worlds drifting through the dark, waiting to be found. They are reminders that even isolation can harbor mystery. A few systems defy understanding even more profoundly. Some stars have planets larger than theory says should exist, giants too heavy for their orbits, as if matter itself ignored the equations. Others contain worlds that circle their stars in eccentric, tilted paths, suggesting past collisions or hidden companions. There are planets that orbit neutron stars, surviving where almost nothing else could, and others that may orbit black holes, forever balancing at the edge of invisibility. Each discovery forces a new question. How does the universe create such variety from the same elements? Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, iron. How can one set of physical laws give rise to so many forms of order and chaos? The answer may lie not in exceptions but in creativity. The cosmos does not repeat itself, it experiments endlessly. Where one rule seems broken, another emerges to take its place. To study these impossible planets is to witness the imagination of nature. The universe builds without symmetry, without preference, guided only by the flow of energy and the pull of gravity. Every world is a possibility realized, every orbit a note in the music of creation. Some shine too brightly, some wander too far, some burn, some freeze, yet all exist because existence itself allows it. When we look at these strange worlds, we are reminded that the familiar is only one expression of what can be. The same laws that built Earth also built spheres of diamond and storms of glass. The planets that should not exist show that the universe has no boundaries for wonder. It is not a machine repeating patterns, but a living process, exploring every possible form. The night sky, with its countless unseen worlds, is a promise. Somewhere, light glints off seas of methane, off mountains of crystal, off atmospheres painted in impossible colors. Somewhere, a world spins too fast or too close, and still it endures. The improbable is not the exception in the cosmos, it is the rule. Around the planets of the solar system and beyond, smaller worlds drift in quiet companionship. They shine only by reflected light, circling their parents like thoughts around a memory. Yet many of these moons are not mere attendants. They are worlds of their own places, of oceans hidden beneath ice, of volcanic fire, of atmospheres so thin they hold the trace of alien chemistry. They carry secrets that may answer one of humanity's oldest questions: where else might life exist? The moons of the giant planets are laboratories of wonder. Each tells a story different from its planet, and sometimes more dramatic. Among them are bodies larger than Mercury, smaller than cities, and everything in between. Their diversity shows that creation is never simple. Gravity binds them to their worlds, but time shapes them according to their distance, their heat, and their own internal rhythm. Europa, one of Jupiter's 4 great moons, looks serene from afar, a smooth sphere of white and pale blue, marked by long, dark lines. But beneath that icy surface lies an ocean, deeper than all of Earth's combined. Cracked and healed by the pull of Jupiter's gravity, Europa's crust floats atop liquid water, warmed by tidal flexing. In that hidden sea, there may be volcanic vents, releasing energy into the darkness, just as they do on Earth's ocean floors. There, life might exist without sunlight, feeding on chemistry alone, surviving unseen beneath kilometers of ice. Saturn's moon Enceladus holds a similar secret. From its south pole, great plumes of water and ice erupt into space, forming a glittering ring that encircles its planet. Within those plumes are traces of organic molecules, the building blocks of life. Beneath Enceladus's frozen shell, scientists believe another ocean lies hidden. If future explorers dive through those geysers, they may touch water that has never seen the sky, a direct link to a possible living world beneath the surface. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, is even stranger. Wrapped in a thick orange haze, it has rivers and lakes not of water but of liquid methane and ethane. The rain that falls from its sky would be flammable on Earth, yet here it flows in alien cycles, shaping valleys and seas. Its atmosphere, dense and cold, hides a landscape that feels familiar and foreign, at once dunes of hydrocarbon sand, fog drifting over polar lakes, the quiet suggestion that chemistry there is only one step removed from biology. Titan may not host life as we know it, but it shows how flexible life's ingredients can be. Farther out lies Triton, Neptune's captured moon, spinning backward against its planet's rotation, a clue that it was once a wanderer, pulled into orbit by gravity's grasp. Its surface is coated with nitrogen frost, and geysers of frozen gas burst through the thin atmosphere. Triton's surface temperature approaches the lowest ever measured in the solar system, yet beneath its crust may lie another hidden ocean. Even in that near-absolute cold, internal heat keeps change alive. Io, the innermost large moon of Jupiter, burns rather than freezes. Tidal forces stretch and squeeze it relentlessly, generating enough heat to fuel constant volcanic eruptions. Its surface is a landscape of molten lakes, sulfur plumes, and colors too vivid to seem real. Io proves that energy can emerge from motion alone, that gravity itself can be a furnace. Where others hide their oceans under ice, Io exposes its heart as fire. Each of these worlds demonstrates a different balance between heat and cold, pressure and release. Together, they expand the definition of habitability. Once, scientists thought life could only thrive within a narrow band of distance from a star. Now, the moons show another way, one where life may depend not on sunlight, but on the quiet, persistent warmth of tides and chemistry. The universe may harbor more living worlds beneath ice than on the surfaces of planets bathed in light. Beyond our solar system, Moons may orbit distant giants in similar ways. Some might circle worlds close enough to their suns for liquid water to exist. Others may glow faintly in the infrared, warmed by tides just as Europa and Enceladus are. These exomoons, still too small and dim to see directly, could outnumber planets themselves. If even a fraction of them host oceans, the galaxy may be far more alive than it appears. The moons also hold memory. Their surfaces preserve ancient scars, craters from collisions, grooves from tectonic movement, plains of frozen lava. They record the history of their systems in their layers, storing the traces of what their planets have endured. Some reflect the light of their suns in soft brilliance, others hide in shadow. Each is a fragment of the universe's autobiography. To stand on the surface of one of these moons would be to feel the cosmos differently. The sky would not be filled with stars alone, but dominated by a vast planet rising and setting, painting the horizon in colors unknown on Earth. Gravity would feel weaker, sound would fade quickly, and silence would reign. Yet beneath one's feet, beneath miles of ice or rock, an unseen ocean might stir a reminder that even in the most remote corners, motion continues, and life may wait. The moons whisper their secrets quietly, in plumes, in spectra, in the faint tremors of orbit. They remind us that the universe hides its wonders not always in distant galaxies, but sometimes just beyond our doorstep, in small worlds bound by loyalty and mystery. Each one asks the same question in its own language of water, rock, and fire. What else might be alive in the dark? Every ray of starlight that reaches an eye began a journey that may have lasted billions of years. It crossed the vacuum of space without rest, slipping between galaxies, weaving through clouds of dust, and enduring the slow stretching of the universe itself. Light never tires, never forgets its origin. It is the most patient traveler in existence, carrying stories across time. When a star is born, light becomes its first language. Photons burst from its surface, scattering in all directions, illuminating worlds that may not yet exist. Each photon moves at the same unchanging speed, the universe's ultimate limit, not because it strives, but because it cannot do otherwise. For light, time itself does not pass. The moment it leaves its source and the moment it arrives are one and the same. To a photon, the journey is instant, even if billions of years unfold along its path. Through light, the cosmos speaks. It reveals the temperature of stars, the composition of distant worlds, and the expansion of space itself. Every color carries information. The deep red of a galaxy shows it moving away, its light stretched by cosmic growth. The blue of a young star speaks of heat and energy, of a furnace at its peak. The faintest flicker of a quasar, billions of light-years away, is a pulse from the ancient universe, still echoing now. Some of the light visible tonight began its voyage before Earth formed. It passed through epochs when galaxies were still gathering, when the Milky Way was only a cloud. It saw the birth of stars now long gone, witnessed collisions that shaped the sky, and still continued. To see that light is to look into the past, to witness events that ended before life began. Every photon that touches a human retina is a messenger from history. But light is also fragile. Dust clouds absorb it, gas scatters it, gravity bends it. A beam passing near a massive object may curve like a river around a mountain, an effect known as gravitational lensing. In this way, gravity itself becomes a telescope, magnifying distant galaxies and revealing what would otherwise remain unseen. Even the darkest corners of space glow faintly from ancient photons, relics of times when the universe was young and full of fire. Not all light escapes its birthplace. In the hearts of collapsing stars, gravity traps it, folding space so tightly that photons circle endlessly within. The event horizon of a black hole marks the boundary beyond which even light cannot return. Yet the universe balances that loss with endless renewal. New stars ignite, new photons are born, and the cosmic conversation continues without pause. On Earth, light defines existence. It is the architect of perception, the boundary between known and unseen, the warmth of sunlight on skin, the shimmer of water, the glow of a city at night, all are interactions between energy and matter, between the source and the receiver. Every act of vision is a reunion between a photon and a conscious observer, an ancient traveler finally meeting its destination. Light also carries time's memory. As it travels, its wavelength stretches with the expansion of space. What began as visible light may arrive as radio waves, its energy diluted but never erased. This redshift is the signature of the universe's growth, a record written not on stone or metal, but in the very vibration of energy. To study it is to read the autobiography of reality. Even within galaxies, light moves in complex ways. It reflects from icy moons, scatters in nebulae, and filters through dust lanes, softening into colors that tell of birth and decay. Some of it escapes freely into intergalactic space, while other rays are trapped for millennia within clouds, bouncing from particle to particle before emerging into the open. The light seen from a single star may have taken multiple paths, combining countless small delays before reaching its final observer. There are photons still traveling that were released when the first atoms formed. They fill the cosmos as the faint glow of the cosmic background, the oldest light in existence. Others, newly born in the fusion of young stars, will travel long after the galaxies that created them are gone. Light does not stop unless absorbed. It continues indefinitely, filling every corner of creation with its silent testimony. In its persistence lies something deeply symbolic. Light connects all things. It links the past with the present, the near with the unreachable. It is the thread that unites every observer with the distant source of wonder. When a person looks up at the stars, they are participating in that connection, completing a journey that began before thought, before history, before memory itself. Perhaps this is why light has always been the metaphor for knowledge, for awakening, for spirit. It moves freely, revealing what darkness conceals, yet it is shaped by everything it encounters. A beam passing through crystal splits into colors. Through water, it bends. Through dust, it softens. It adapts without ceasing. So too does understanding. The light that travels forever is more than illumination. It is the memory of existence carried through time. It is the record of every star's heartbeat, every dawn that ever was. To see it is to witness the persistence of being, the refusal of energy to fade completely into silence. And though the stars will one day die, their light will continue, crossing the expanding darkness, whispering through eternity that once, in a universe alive with fire, there was brightness, and it still journeys on. The universe began with a burst of light and motion, yet all that expands must someday confront stillness. The cosmos, though vast beyond measure, is not exempt from endings. Stars fade, galaxies drift apart, and time itself moves toward futures that shimmer with both beauty and melancholy. The story of everything carries within it the quiet truth that even infinity changes. Every ending begins small. The first stars to die leave behind ashes of light white dwarfs cooling into blackness, neutron stars spinning until their pulses fade. Galaxies, once bright with the births of new suns, begin to dim as their fuel runs low. The great cycles of star formation slow until only faint red embers remain. One by one, the lights go out, leaving behind shadows where constellations once glowed. On the scale of billions of years, this dimming becomes profound. The galaxies grow quieter as the supply of hydrogen thins. The vast nebulae that once fed new generations of stars dissolve into nothingness. The Milky Way and its neighbors, drawn by gravity, will merge into a single massive galaxy, its stars circling in endless silence. From its edges, the expansion of space will carry everything else away until even other galaxies become unreachable. The universe, though expanding, is not static. The force driving its growth, dark energy, pushes galaxies apart faster and faster. In distant epochs, this acceleration will stretch space so greatly that only the nearest stars remain visible. Beyond them, darkness will reign, not because the light is gone, but because it can no longer cross the growing gulf. The cosmos will seem smaller to any eyes that might still exist, though in truth it will be larger than ever. Eventually, the last stars will exhaust their fuel. Small red dwarfs will flicker dimly for trillions of years before fading. No new stars will take their place. The night skies of the future will hold only remnants, cold, quiet spheres, and the occasional flash of a dying system collapsing into silence. The universe will become a gallery of ghosts. Yet even then, Matter will persist for unimaginable spans of time. Planets will continue to orbit their darkened suns. Black holes will feed occasionally on wandering debris. In the shadows, quantum effects will still whisper. Particles will appear and vanish, tiny echoes of the energy that once filled all things. Time will not end in an instant, but in an endless slowing, a long twilight of physics itself. Some theories imagine that black holes, through slow evaporation, will eventually release all that they have consumed. Over eons beyond counting, they will fade into nothingness, leaving behind only radiation. When the last black hole evaporates, the cosmos will consist solely of photons and subatomic particles drifting in infinite expansion. There will be no structure, no warmth, only a vast, cold sea of uniform emptiness, the heat death of the universe. This outcome, though bleak, is not destruction in the ordinary sense. It is the dispersal of energy into equilibrium, the final quiet after an eternity of motion. The cosmos will have reached perfect stillness, where every difference in temperature, every flow of energy, every possibility of change is gone. Time, in that state, loses meaning, for nothing remains to mark its passage. Other possibilities exist in theory. Perhaps dark energy will continue to accelerate expansion until it tears apart galaxies, stars, and even atoms, a scenario called the Big Rip. Or perhaps gravity will someday overcome expansion, pulling everything back together into a final collapse, a big crunch, followed by another explosion, another beginning. The laws that govern the far future remain uncertain, and in that uncertainty lies a kind of hope that endings may also be transitions. Even the thought of final darkness carries its own quiet grace. The universe does not vanish in despair, but fulfills its own nature. It expands, evolves, and balances, just as stars are born, shine, and fade. Every atom that exists today was once part of something brighter, and will one day become part of something quieter. The rhythm of creation and dissolution is the true heartbeat of reality. For humanity, these distant fates are abstractions, vast beyond empathy, yet they remind that impermanence is not a flaw but the essence of existence. The same law that extinguishes stars allows them to burn in the first place. The same entropy that brings stillness also makes life's fleeting warmth possible. Each moment of awareness, every spark of beauty, arises against the backdrop of inevitable quiet. Perhaps, in the deep future, when even light fades into distance, the memory of everything that was will persist in patterns too subtle to see in the ripples of quantum fields, in the shape of space-time itself. The universe may forget its brightness, but not the fact that it once existed. In that memory lies a kind of immortality, the endless echo of being. The endings of everything, then, are not mere finality. They are part of the cycle of transformation that defines the cosmos. Stars die so that elements can be born. Galaxies collide to form new worlds. Even the last silence is only the next phase of the great unfolding. To contemplate that silence is not to mourn, but to recognize the vast serenity that underlies all change. The universe began in light and will end in calm. Between those moments stretches everything: motion, matter, thought, and life. When all else fades, what will remain is the quiet truth that it happened at all, that from nothing came form, from chaos came pattern, and from darkness came the miracle of illumination. The cosmos will rest, not in absence, but in completion. The universe feels immense beyond imagination. Yet there are theories suggesting that even this vastness may be only a single thread in a greater tapestry. Perhaps our cosmos, with its galaxies and laws of physics, is not unique but one of countless others. These parallel realms may differ subtly or completely, each with its own version of space, time, and possibility. This vision is known as the multiverse, a dream that stretches the idea of existence to its most audacious limit. The notion arises from the edges of modern physics. Quantum theory implies that reality does not commit to one outcome until it is observed. All possibilities exist at once, woven into probability. Some interpretations take this literally. Every event that can happen does happen not here, but somewhere, in another universe that branches away at each moment of choice. Every photon, every atom, Every decision spawns new realities, forming an infinite web of parallel worlds, each as real as this one. If this is true, then the cosmos is a tree of endless branching. In one universe, a star explodes. In another, it survives. In one, Earth exists. In another, it never forms. There could be universes where time flows differently, where gravity is stronger, where life never awakens, or where it thrives in unimaginable forms. Infinity, in such a view, is not metaphor but structure. The multiverse is not a distant idea. It is the total sum of every possibility that has ever been or will be. Another vision comes from cosmic inflation, the rapid expansion that followed the universe's birth. The mathematics of inflation suggest that it might not have been a single, isolated event. Instead, it could be self-perpetuating small regions of space inflating into separate bubbles, each forming its own universe with distinct properties. These bubble universes may drift apart, forever isolated by distances beyond comprehension, each carrying its own version of physics. Our universe would then be one bubble among infinite others, a single note in an endless cosmic chord. Even string theory whispers of multiverses. Its equations allow for many possible configurations of physical laws, each consistent yet different. Some universes could have more or fewer dimensions, or fundamental constants slightly altered. A small change in the strength of gravity or the charge of an electron might produce a cosmos where matter cannot form, or where stars live for only moments. The universe, as we know it, may simply be one stable configuration among a vast landscape of possibilities. To imagine such variety is to confront both wonder and humility. The multiverse would mean that what we call reality is local, a regional dialect in the language of existence. The laws of physics we hold sacred may be true only here, within our cosmic neighborhood. Elsewhere, other versions of truth may reign, equally valid and equally real. The multiverse also offers a strange kind of explanation for why our universe allows life at all. The delicate balance of physical constants, the precise ratios that make atoms, stars, and consciousness possible could seem improbably perfect. But if infinite universes exist, each with different parameters, then it is inevitable that some will produce conditions suitable for life. We exist not because the universe was fine-tuned for us, but because we happen to inhabit one of the rare universes where life can emerge. In this view, our existence is both extraordinary and statistically certain. Still, these ideas live on the boundary between science and philosophy. No telescope can yet peer into another universe. No experiment can detect the echo of a parallel reality. The multiverse remains a speculation elegant, daring, and unproven, yet its appeal is undeniable, for it mirrors the endless creativity of nature. The same cosmos that invents galaxies and minds might also invent entire realities. Some thinkers suggest that even imagination itself may be a reflection of this deeper truth. Every thought, every dream, every hypothetical world conceived by a mind could mirror an actual universe somewhere, resonating through unseen dimensions. When someone envisions a different outcome, a better world, or a stranger one, perhaps that thought is not entirely fictional but an echo of a possibility existing elsewhere. The boundaries between dream and reality grow thin in the multiverse. If infinite universes exist, then everything that can be imagined is real somewhere. The poem Unwritten, the civilization unformed, the star never ignited all have their places. Every path taken and untaken unfolds in parallel, creating an eternal now where all possibilities coexist. Existence, then, is not a single line, but a vast sea of variation, each wave a universe rising and falling in the infinite ocean of being. The dream of multiverses does not diminish the meaning of this world, it enriches it. For even if there are countless other realities, this one remains unique, the only version where this moment, this breath, this thought exists exactly as it does. The existence of infinity does not erase individuality, it magnifies it. Every universe is precious because each contains its own irreproducible melody in the grand symphony of existence. Perhaps the multiverse is not something to be proven, but something to be felt. The intuition that reality is larger than understanding. To gaze at the stars is to sense the infinite already. Each point of light may be not only a sun, but a reflection of a greater pattern, an echo from another branch of creation. Whether or not we ever find evidence, the dream of multiverses endures because it reflects the deepest instinct of consciousness, that existence, in its essence, never ends. The universe has unfolded for billions of years, sculpting galaxies, forging stars, and shaping worlds from dust and fire. Yet only recently, in cosmic terms, has it done something extraordinary. It has begun to look at itself. From the atoms of ancient stars arose living matter, and from that matter arose awareness, a consciousness capable of questioning the very space it came from. The cosmos has become both observer and observed, a grand mirror reflecting its own existence through the eyes of life. Every thought that arises in a human mind is built from particles older than the Earth itself. Carbon from forgotten stars, oxygen forged in stellar hearts, iron once floating in supernova clouds, all assembled into living form. When the mind wonders about the universe, it is the universe wondering about its own origin. Awareness is not separate from the cosmos. It is one of its most intricate creations, a way for matter to know itself. This idea transforms the meaning of observation. When ancient astronomers first looked to the sky, they were not outsiders studying a distant realm. They were participants in a continuous process of self-reflection. Their curiosity, their urge to measure and map, was an extension of the same natural laws that shaped galaxies and gravity. Consciousness is the latest expression of those laws, not an accident, but a culmination of evolution's long unfolding. The brain, with its billions of neurons and electric pulses, mirrors the structure of the universe at large. Its networks resemble the filaments of galaxies stretched across space, each node connected to countless others, transmitting energy and information. On vastly different scales, both are systems built from connection. The cosmos forms stars, the brain forms thoughts. Both are patterns born from the same mathematics of motion and balance. What makes awareness remarkable is its ability to transcend its own boundaries. Through observation, it reaches back in time, decoding light that left distant stars billions of years ago. Through mathematics, it describes the curvature of space and the origins of matter. Through imagination, it envisions realities that may exist beyond the visible. The mind is the only place in the known universe where the infinite can be contemplated within the finite. And yet, consciousness is fragile. It depends on delicate chemical processes, on the narrow band of conditions that allow life. From this fragility arises humility, the recognition that awareness is both rare and precious. In a cosmos where most matter drifts in silence, the brief flicker of thought is an event of cosmic significance. For the first time, the universe has found a way to understand itself. Some philosophers suggest that consciousness may not be confined to living beings alone, that awareness could be a fundamental property of existence, woven into the structure of reality. In this view, the emergence of minds is not an exception, but a natural awakening, a concentration of the universe's inherent capacity to perceive. Every act of perception, from the tilt of a flower towards sunlight to the orbit of a planet around a star, could be seen as part of a continuum of awareness evolving towards self-recognition. This perspective reframes the question of meaning. The universe may not need an external purpose. It creates meaning through observation. The act of noticing, of seeing, feeling, reflecting, gives existence its texture. Without awareness, the cosmos would still expand, but it would do so in silence. With awareness, it becomes a story, a living narrative of discovery. The mind is not outside that story. It is one of its most intricate chapters. Each individual consciousness, no matter how brief, is a momentary lens through which the infinite focuses itself. When someone contemplates the stars, they are enacting a cosmic symmetry. Energy that once flowed outward from the beginning is now returning inward as thought. The starlight that falls on a human eye completes a circuit begun at the dawn of time. The universe shines, and the mind shines back. Awareness also changes the cosmos in tangible ways. Every measurement, every observation alters what is known and what can be. Through exploration, humanity rearranges matter, reshapes planets, and sends signals across space. Information, once locked in silence, becomes communication. The cosmos evolves not only through physics, but through knowledge. The moment a being understands something about the universe itself changes, for now it contains that understanding. Yet the more deeply the mind gazes, the more mystery it finds. Consciousness can grasp equations that describe galaxies, but it cannot yet describe itself. The same neurons that compose thought cannot fully see their own origin. Awareness, like the cosmos, seems to contain an endless horizon. The further it reaches, the more it reveals that discovery has no final boundary. In this infinite exchange between the thinker and the thought, the cosmos becomes a dialogue. Stars, planets, and atoms are its grammar, curiosity, its voice. Every act of perception is a line spoken back to creation. Whether or not other conscious beings exist among the stars, the universe has already achieved something extraordinary. It has created within itself a way to witness its own beauty. To gaze into the night sky, then, is not to look outward but inward. The stars are not distant strangers but reflections of the same process that formed the mind that beholds them. The light of galaxies travels across eons only to end in a spark of awareness, completing the journey from creation to comprehension. The mind that gazes back is the bridge between silence and meaning. It transforms existence from a physical event into a living experience. Through thought, the universe knows joy, curiosity, and wonder. Through awareness, it finds reflection. Through imagination, it dreams. And in that dream, fleeting yet infinite, the cosmos achieves what no star or atom could ever do alone. It awakens. There is a moment each night, just before sleep takes hold, when the mind drifts between worlds. Thought loosens its grip on form, the body grows heavy, and awareness begins to blur. In that threshold, something vast stirs. It is the same stillness that fills the cosmos, the same quiet that stretches between the stars. The human mind, in its drowsy surrender, begins to echo the universe that made it. Dreams rise from that borderland. They are small acts of creation, private universes born from memory and imagination. Each dream rearranges fragments of experience into new patterns, landscapes that never were, moments that could never be, yet feel utterly real while they last. The dreaming mind becomes its own cosmos, guided by laws as strange and flexible as those that shape reality itself. In this nightly expansion, every sleeper becomes a quiet architect of infinity. The rhythm of breathing mirrors the movement of galaxies. Inhale, expansion, exhale, return. Each breath is a cycle of motion and stillness, a miniature version of the universe's own pulse. In the calm between them lies timelessness, the same stillness that existed before the first star ignited. As consciousness begins to dissolve into sleep, that timelessness envelops it. The mind, freed from linear time, floats like a particle of dust suspended in an endless light. Sleep is not absence, it is migration. The waking self steps aside, and deeper layers of mind emerge, quiet processes that weave the fabric of dreams. Within this space, time flows differently. Entire stories unfold in moments. The boundary between now and then fades, just as the boundary between here and there does in the cosmic scale. To dream is to move through a dimension not measured by clocks, but by emotion, memory, and possibility. Perhaps that is why dreams feel infinite. They open doors to places that seem larger than imagination, filled with faces and voices that appear from nowhere. Within them, gravity is optional, distance irrelevant, logic pliant. In this way, dreams resemble the cosmos, not in scale, but in principle. Both are realms where order and chaos coexist, where structure rises from uncertainty, where something emerges from nothing. There is comfort in this reflection. The same patterns that guide the dance of galaxies also guide the hidden choreography of the mind. Electrical impulses surge through neural networks just as stars ignite within clouds of gas. A flash of inspiration mirrors the birth of a star. The fading of a dream recalls its death. In each case, energy becomes form, then dissolves again into the field from which it came. Both brain and cosmos pulse with the same rhythm of emergence and return. Between waking and sleep, awareness hovers like a satellite over two worlds. It observes thought fading into the subconscious, yet does not vanish completely. This state, fragile, luminous, reveals how thin the line between the personal and the infinite truly is. When the body rests and identity softens, what remains is pure perception without anchor, a state that echoes the early universe before form existed. In that stillness, one might feel both infinitesimal and boundless, both nothing and everything at once. The dreams that follow often carry symbols older than memory oceans, stars, journeys, the pull of falling or flying. These images may be more than personal reflections. They may be ancient languages inherited from a universe that once dreamed itself into being. Perhaps every human dream is a continuation of that first cosmic vision, the expansion of energy into complexity, the unfolding of potential into form. To dream, then, is to participate again in creation. Sleep also renews. It is the nightly reset that allows life to continue, the period when the mind repairs itself and the body restores balance. On the cosmic scale, entire systems undergo similar renewal. Stars recycle their matter through birth and death. Galaxies collide and reorganize. Even the universe itself may rest between cycles, expanding, cooling, then beginning again. Sleep is a small echo of that eternal rhythm, the same pattern of dissolution and rebirth that sustains everything. When morning comes and the dream dissolves, a trace remains, a feeling, an image, a lingering awareness that something vast was touched. The sleeper awakens as the universe does after darkness, carrying the residue of mystery into the daylight of reason. Though the details fade, the sensation endures that for a time, consciousness drifted beyond its boundaries and returned changed. The line between sleep and infinity is not a barrier, but a bridge. It connects the intimate world of thought to the limitless expanse of being. In sleep, the mind remembers its origin. In waking, it forgets. Yet both belong to the same continuum, as stars belong to the night. Every dream is a quiet rehearsal for eternity, a momentary return to the boundless stillness from which all life emerged. As the eyes close and breath deepens, the heartbeat slows to the rhythm of creation itself. The same silence that fills interstellar space begins to fill the mind. And in that silence, awareness drifts outward, merging with the vastness it once observed. The body sleeps, but the universe remains awake within it, endless, luminous, and alive. Close your eyes, and the vastness outside folds inward. The galaxies that span unimaginable distances, the stars that burn for eons, the fabric of space-time itself, all find reflection within the quiet chamber of the mind. The body is small, yet it contains echoes of the cosmos. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought repeats the rhythm of creation. To look inward is to look outward in another direction, to see that the boundaries between self and universe are illusions drawn by perception. Inside every human being, the elements that compose worlds coexist. Calcium from ancient stars strengthens bones. Iron forged in stellar furnaces carries oxygen through veins. Carbon from long-dead suns shapes the tissues of life. Hydrogen, the most common atom in the cosmos, flows in the water that sustains existence. The universe did not create life as something apart from itself. It became life. Through living forms, it continues its own story. The brain, with its electric patterns and networks of light, mirrors the web of galaxies. Each neuron flashes like a star. Each synapse forms a connection across the dark. Thought is a constellation of energy, a microcosm of the cosmic web. When consciousness arises from these interactions, it is as if the universe has turned its gaze inward and discovered itself thinking. Awareness becomes the universe's self-recognition, the moment creation realizes it exists. This realization carries both wonder and responsibility. To be conscious is to hold a fragment of eternity within fragile form. The same laws that move galaxies also govern the beating of a heart. Every act of kindness, every spark of curiosity, every moment of insight is a continuation of cosmic evolution. The atoms that once drifted in the cores of stars now take part in reflection, empathy, and choice. The universe has learned compassion through humanity. The connection between the inner and outer is not metaphor but truth written in physics. The forces that shape the heavens shape every cell. Gravity, electromagnetism, and the quantum dance do not stop at the skin. they define the architecture of being. Even consciousness, mysterious as it is, arises from patterns that obey the same universal rules. The cosmos and the self are not separate realms, they are different expressions of one continuous field. To feel awe before the stars is to remember this unity. That quiet wonder that fills the chest when the night sky unfolds is not the reaction of something small before something infinite. It is recognition. The atoms, looking upward, are the same that once burned in those distant suns. The light that enters the eyes completes a cycle millions of years long, reuniting what was never truly divided. Within the silence of thought, universes are born and dissolve. Imagination reshapes time, memory alters space, and emotion moves with the gravity of planets. The inner cosmos is as complex and endless as the one that surrounds it. Each person carries an infinite landscape within, a realm of dreams, fears, hopes, and insights that expands as endlessly as space. The outer universe evolves through matter. The inner one evolves through meaning. Both are real, both eternal in their own way. Science measures the physical vastness of the cosmos, but experience measures its depth. When a person loves, creates, or wonders, they are participating in the same creative energy that forged stars. When someone grieves, that too is cosmic, the universe feeling the impermanence built into its own design. Awareness makes the inert vibrant, gives purpose to the endless mechanics of existence. Through the human mind, the cosmos has learned poetry. To walk through life, then, is to move through layers of the universe, both seen and unseen. Every glance, every thought, every heartbeat is a collaboration between physical law and living consciousness. The stars burn above not to dominate but to remind. What shines outside also shines within. The same fire that lights the heavens fuels the warmth of being alive. In moments of stillness, this truth becomes palpable. Sit in quiet darkness, and the pulse of blood sounds like the murmur of galaxies. Breathing becomes the tide of cosmic expansion and contraction. The mind, drifting beyond words, becomes vast. Not metaphorically vast, but truly so. Its awareness touching the same field of existence that holds all things together. Perhaps this is the universe's ultimate secret, that it is not merely out there, but also here. Every person carries a portion of its memory, its motion, its endless curiosity. The stars are not distant fires, they are kin. The light that shines through them is the same light that moves behind every thought. The universe is not something to reach for, but something to remember. When eyes open again, the world returns the air, the sounds, the touch of the familiar. Yet something lingers from that inward gaze, a quiet understanding that nothing is truly separate, that every breath participates in eternity. The cosmos is not beyond, it is within. In every life, the universe finds its reflection, its voice, and its continuing dream.